Hi everybody, my name's Matt and I travel around the world dancing badly. This is pretty much all the places that I've managed to dance so far. It's a lot of places. I look at this and I don't know what you're thinking when you look at this. I look at this and the first thing I see is all of the giant holes in the world. It's all these places I've been to and still all I can see is these giant pockets where I haven't gotten to go to yet. I promise you there are really good reasons why I haven't been to all of those places. But I've done my best to try and canvas the planet and represent as many places as I can. This is the very first time I ever danced badly. Can we bring the lights down a little bit? It's kind of bright. This is the very first place that I ever danced badly. This was 10 years ago in 2003. And I promise you, this guy in this image right here does not realize that his life is being profoundly changed in this moment and that every day after will be altered by the experience of having stood on this street corner and danced like an idiot. But it was. Up until that point, as Neil said, I used to work in video games. I was a game designer. And when I was in high school, first of all, I knew everything already. So I didn't need to go to college. And I knew, in addition to knowing everything, that all I wanted to do with the rest of my life was make video games. And partly because of this enormous self-confidence, I think, I was lucky enough to get a job at 19 designing video games in Los Angeles for a company called Activision. And I think because I started so young, I was able to have my midlife crisis around 26. After 7 years of working as a game designer, I had this opportunity to leave Los Angeles, really was unhappy in Los Angeles, but some people who I worked with there were from Australia, and they moved back, and I said, take me with you. So they took me down to Brisbane, Australia. And I got to work for a couple of years there. And that was where when I realized that the stuff that I thought I wanted to do forever when I was 17 wasn't really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And there was a whole lot more to the world than I realized, and a whole lot more to me. And I was spending all day, every day, sitting in front of a computer screen and realized that I was missing out on a whole lot. So I lost interest in what I was doing, and as a result, I wasn't very good at it. The converse is true if you're not really, oh, never mind. And so yeah, I quit. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I decided to go travel because that was something that I got really turned on to in Australia. Growing up, I didn't know about this. I didn't know that you could just buy a plane ticket to some place you've barely even heard of on the other side of the planet, go there and find out what it's like over there. You don't need to speak the language necessarily, although it's good. You don't need to know everything about it. You could just go and discover while you're there. That's what Australians do. My friends, they'd finish university and they'd go wander off for a year or 2 years. And so I tried doing that and discovered I really, really loved it. I was really passionate about international travel, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to make a living out of that, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I'd saved up a whole bunch of money living in Australia. At the time, the exchange rate in Australia was about 50 cents on the dollar. Now it's about $1 on the dollar. But back then, I was getting paid in US dollars living in Australia, so my bank account would just grow and grow. No matter how hard I tried to spend all my money, it just kept growing. So I had this money saved up after a couple of years, and I decided to spend it on a trip, a backpacking trip around the world, basically until the money ran out. So there I was a couple months later in Hanoi, Vietnam, and I had this thing in my pocket, digital camera. Okay, so now how many of you guys in the audience, raise your hand if you have something in your bag or in your pocket that you can shoot video with? Okay, almost everybody. I see a few hands not up, but almost everybody. How many of you guys 10 years ago had something you'd carry around in your pocket that shot video? One guy. Okay, I was the other guy. I had this digital camera that I just bought in 2003. They were brand new, and it could take pictures, but you flick a switch and it could shoot video. That was amazing. Up until then, you had to carry around a big video camera with you. But I had this little thing in my pocket, and we were taking pictures in Vietnam. My friend Brad said, why don't you go stand over there in the corner and do your stupid dance and I'll film it. Now the stupid dance he knew because we'd worked together at this game company. And I was always the first guy at my job who wanted to go to lunch. And so I would get up and I'd go to the other desks and I'd do this annoying dance. And they'd be trying to work, they'd be trying to get their jobs done, but I'd be hovering over there and totally distracting them, and eventually they'd get up to go to lunch with me. So that's how he knew the dance. He said, go over there and do that stupid dance you do, and I'll film it. So I shot this clip, and I thought, oh, that was pretty fun. It wasn't even my idea. This was no big, oh, I'm going to travel around the world doing this dance thing. It was no moment like that. It was just a fun thing to do in that particular place, and I decided to keep on doing it everywhere I went on this trip. So 6 months later, I got home. I was out of money. I had all these clips together. I edited them into a short little video, slapped some cheesy world music over it, put it on my website, and that was done. That was it. I was done. 2 years later, I heard from a friend that my video had wound up on this website called YouTube. I'd never heard of YouTube before. I found my video on there. 650,000 people had watched it.